Welcome back. Now, throughout our lives, at different stages, different phases of life, we all have different types of pressure. And once couples finally get married, finally settle down, 5 years down the line, there are a lot of different types of pressure that they might be experiencing. Today, we're going to talk relationships with Miracle Iheoma. He is a dynamic speaker, author, clinical psychologist, life coach, spiritual shepherd as well. And today's topic is common pressure points to expect in the first 5 years of marriage. It's great to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be here again.
So last week we talked about the first 1 year, everything fresh and new, right?
Yeah.
Fresh and new situation, you know, the reverie, the butterflies are still in the air,
Yeah.
you know, after the first, I think they call it the honeymoon stage, right?
Exactly.
So now, 5 years down the line, let's talk pressure points. What are the most common ones to expect?
Okay, so last week we talked about the first year. So you just come into marriage. You know, for a lot of people, okay, it's the fact that they weren't prepared for what they are now into. Now, along the first 5 years, research has it that about 20% of marriages break during the first 5 years.
Okay.
That is usually because a lot of couples are not able to navigate the complexities that now come with marriage.
Okay.
These complexities include things like conflict resolution.
Okay.
So for a lot of couples, they don't even know that they would have conflicts. I've had people, you know, couples who felt that, okay, they would always be good.
Okay.
And then when they have their first conflict, they're like, wow, it throws them aback. And it's something that they weren't prepared for. And for some other people, it's parenting.
Okay.
The fact that, oh, there's now a fresh child.
Yeah.
And that's why in Africa, a lot of first children are experimental because they don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
So that can actually, you know, shake the dynamics of the marriage. For a lot of people, it's a lack of child as well, or children. You know, that could also upset the dynamics when we now have in-law situations, people now putting pressure on the wife, usually in Africa, you know, or the family generally about that situation.
Okay.
You know, for a lot of people, it is finances as well. Oh, okay, now there are bills to pay,
Yeah.
and that could, in fact, finances is, according to research, the second leading cause of breakup or divorces in marriage.
Wow.
Only second to sexual issues. Right? So now these are some of the issues that people within the first 5 years face and go through.
So I wanted to touch on one of those points you mentioned. You said having children or the lack thereof,
Yes.
essentially, is a major pressure point for the first 5 years. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, because a lot of the reason why people get married is actually skewed.
Okay.
So, and one of the questions I've always asked couples is, why did you get married? Usually 95% of couples don't know why they got married.
Wow.
Yeah.
They don't know why. Or
They don't know why.
Or they didn't have a plan. They just thought it was
They
part
just
of...
thought it was part of life. It's the
Okay.
next thing to do after you are 25 or you are 30. Oh, the next thing to do is to get married. And it's usually why when they are faced with little challenges,
Yeah.
they are actually knocked off because they don't even know why they are in the marriage in the first place. You know, when purpose is defined, it is easier to go through challenges.
Okay.
So for instance, if I know that coming to TVC every day for the next 2 years
Yeah.
would give me $10 million,
Yeah.
even no matter how stressful it is to get the TVC every day, I will make sure I do so.
Yeah.
Because I am coming with a purpose. But for a lot of people, they don't come into marriage with a sense of purpose. They don't know why they are in marriage.
Yeah.
Right? For some others, they are in marriage for the wrong reasons.
Okay.
Example, having children.
Okay.
So if that's the reason why somebody is married, then you should know why it becomes a challenge, or a major challenge, when there is or there are no children in the marriage.
Okay.
Because that's the reason they are married in the first place.
Yeah.
So their source of happiness in marriage is coming from their having children or a lack thereof.
Okay.
So when there are no children,
Yeah.
it poses a challenge and begins to affect their happiness because they have put their happiness in something that is external, in something that they don't have control over.
Yeah. You mentioned finances earlier on as well, and I feel like a lot of people get married for financial reasons?
True, especially the female gender. Now, forgive me,
Yeah.
but that is true. According to research,
Yeah.
right? Especially in Africa, really,
Yeah.
a lot of the female gender, a lot of people in the female gender actually get married because they are looking for someone to deliver them from poverty.
Wow.
So, okay, that's why you would see a lady who is unambitious, who's doing nothing,
Yeah.
and all she's praying for. In fact, if you go on social media, you would see memes, you see prayers that have to do with my husband becoming rich, my husband having money. And I'm wondering, is it that you are forbidden from having money yourself? Is it that you are forbidden from being rich yourself?
Yeah.
So when they now go into marriage and then maybe the husband is not meeting up to demands or expectations
Yeah.
that they have financially, can pose a challenge,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes, because I know that women are usually judged by relational success, while men are usually judged by financial success, yeah, in the society.
Sure.
So if a woman, for instance, is 30 years old and she's not married, there's a lot of questions, a lot of pressure, here and there. If a man is 30 and he doesn't have a well-paying job, there's a lot of pressure as well,
Yeah.
So that can actually pose a challenge in the marriage when the finances are not in place.
So now, to sort of wrap this up, there's someone that is watching now that is in the first year of marriage and wants to get to that end game. They want to take it all the way. What advice do you have for them now? What should they be doing right now in their marriage to prepare for the next 4 or 5 years?
Beautiful. So what they should be doing right now is to get as much marriage education as they can.
Okay.
Right? Get educated about marriage, because a lot of people don't think that they should get anything, they should know anything about marriage, or they should get educated about marriage, because they just feel it's something that should come natural. Oh, my parents were married for 20 years, 40 years, 30 years. They didn't get to read any book, they didn't get to attend any seminar, they didn't get to learn anything. But then I usually ask them, okay, if your parents taught you about marriage, who taught your parents about marriage? They say their parents. Who taught their parents? Their parents' parents. Who taught their parents' parents? Their parents' parents' parents. Who taught their parents' parents' parents? And then if we go back that memory lane, we realize that they are running with the knowledge of the Stone-aged man who lived in the 5th century, who didn't have access to YouTube, who didn't have access to TVC, who didn't have access to media, who didn't have access to education, to seminars, to books, and all of those things, right? And that's the knowledge of the person they are running their marriage with right now.
So I know that this conversation is not one that we can finish right now, but we also know you have questions, contributions, and comments. Use the hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC and let us know.